Hello, and welcome to the Project Good podcast. I'm your host, Anne Marie Hilton. Project Good is a social impact podcast interviewing experts and advocates about the pressing problems that we face globally and hearing how they suggest we move forward in the future. The Project Good podcast is brought to you by Project Good Work. The goal of this podcast is to inspire people and organizations to develop a mindset that can move others to positive action regarding the complex social issues facing people and the planet. For February, we're focusing on the topic of Black hair and the Crown Act. The Crown Act, which stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair, is a law that prohibits race-based hair discrimination, which is the denial of employment and educational opportunities because of hair texture or protective hairstyles such as braids, locks, twists, or bantu knots. Black or African American hair in its natural state has been seen as problematic almost since the beginning of America. It has been regarded as not real hair, not professional, and certainly not beautiful. With many Black and African American people often defined in our society by their hair and skin, this has prevented many African Americans from opportunities in the workforce and in life. It becomes critical to understand the root of the problem. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing and discussing the Crown Act with Jennifer Atkins, Chief Executive Officer and President of JennyCap, and the founder of thecrownact.org. Ms. Atkins has been passionate about advocating for healthy Black hair for a long time, creating her signature protective hair garments in the mid-90s. Let's get into the interview. Most non-Black or African American people are unaware of the fact that 80% of Black women say they must change their hair from its natural state to fit in at the office. Still, another shocking fact is that only 14 states in the United States have outlawed the ability for employers and educational institutions to discriminate against somebody's natural hair, meaning how it grows out from their head or hairstyle. The Crown Act, which was created in 2019 by Dove and the Crown Coalition in partnership with then State Senator Holly J. Mitchell of California to ensure protection against discrimination based on race-based hairstyles by extending statutory protection to hair texture and protective styles in the workplace and public schools. Advocating for Black hair is a full-time job, and today I'll be discussing the realities of Black hair with Crown Act advocate Jennifer Atkins, who is Chief Executive Officer and President of JennyCap, a protective hair garment company. Welcome, Ms. Atkins.
Hello, good to be here.
Yes, thank you for your time today. And I'm looking forward to this discussion about Black hair and all the the problems and different things that come with it. So before, though, that we get into the questions, what inspired you to start your company, JennyCap?
Sure. So JennyCap was founded under the principles that, myself, I am African-American woman. I have a curl pattern to my natural hair. And so I have to sleep in something at night to curate, maintenance so that I don't have to, do my hair in terms of untangling it. And it just makes for a better day if I sleep on something or just wrap my hair, as they say, overnight. So I created JennyCap because that allowed me to not only have something to protect my hair, keep the moisture in my hair, because no moisture equals breakage. It also gave me something to keep maybe oils out of my pillowcase, and then something pretty to put on my head to do this. At that time, things looked pretty unattractive. So that's why I created the signature JennyCap style. It had a wide band. It was more comfortable. It had a double lining. So the lining that was on your hair was not the same lining that's on the exterior part of the cap. So a lot went into my design, and I actually have a utility patent on that design. It's just expired, but I was really proud of that design because it really met the needs of so many women that up until then, I was really going to sleep in just kind of like rags or scarves or things that came off. It really didn't work. So that's why the JennyCap company was founded.
Oh, excellent. I know that, for most, of course, all hair is different, but curly hair in itself, I know, is very delicate. A lot of people don't realize that. I think there's always a misconception, I guess, that curly hair, just because it has a different texture, people have a misconception that it's stronger than straight hair, but it really does need to be taken care of. In a much gentler fashion. So that is wonderful that you have created this company that I'm sure has helped millions of women.
Absolutely. And you're right, because curly hair can break because it's got those curls, it's got those bends, and you know, if something stays in that position too long, it can literally break. And that's why the breakage is such the issue. So, but what I also want people to know is that, you know, black hair or curly hair or textured hair, it's actually a very versatile, high performing hair too, because imagine being able to take your hair from a coil all the way to a straight needle. Like literally, that's what the hair can do as well. It could. There's so many things I can do with my hair. I can straighten it, I can texturize it, I can curl it, I can braid it, I can twist it, and through all that, it won't come loose. So it's really like a unique coil type of a natural structure that allows you a lot of versatility. So it's not that people should see curly hair as a problem or an obstacle or something to fight with or anything. I think it should be embraced. I think people who don't have curly hair or textured hair, look at it like this is like the high performance stuff here. I mean, we can go from 0 to 60 with this type of hair. Whereas it's much harder to take someone who has non-textured hair and then try to make it into textured hair. It's almost impossible to do that because the curl is coming out of my scalp. And it's really hard to do. Now it can be attempted, but it's really not the same. Whereas I can relax my hair and then put a flat iron to it, and then voila. I mean, I've got like really super straight hair if I wanted it, if I wanted that, right? So it's very versatile. It's a versatile type of curl pattern. Whereas I can straighten it or use the curl pattern. If I want to put water on it, then the curl pattern steps back. So, but it is weak too because the breakage is there. That's the bad side of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bad
Yes.
side of it. Yeah.
One of the things that it's kind of, I guess, in some ways, I guess 2020 is, they always say history repeats itself. So I kind of feel like 2020 is like we're going back to the 60s, but in a different way that is like a high tech 60s.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's what I feel that we are currently experiencing. And with that, before, of course, 2020, there has been this movement, I guess I would say maybe it's been maybe a decade or more of what they call the natural hair movement. And the natural
Exactly.
hair
That's
movement
right.
is embracing your hair, specifically mostly for, I would say, African American and Black people around the world at the way that however it grows out of your head. Do you think that this movement is here to stay, or is it just something is trendy?
Oh no, it's absolutely here to stay. And that's because it's sort of like imagine like my aunts and they're probably like in their 60s and 70s. They were never ever able to professionally wear their hair naturally outside of their house. So imagine you, Miss Hilton, imagine you with your type of hair, not African American hair, right? So imagine you having to change the structure and style of your hair for your whole life when you went outside your door. So the hair that grows out of your head, you cannot go and get a job and be respected with that hair. You have to get it changed or cover it. Wear a wig. I don't know what you're going to do, but that's what we've lived with. Imagine that.
Mhm.
It's kind of hard to imagine. So
It's
now
expensive.
when that's another way to put it. And I'll get to that point too. The African American hair goods market, we call it product, is enormous. It's crazy. It's the biggest hair care market like on the planet. Like there's way more products for me than there is for you.
Mhm, mhm,
Because we can do like I said, we go back to that performance and versatility aspect. I can do about 10 things more with my hair than you could do with your hair. And that's why you need product, right? You got to have oils and butters and you got all that stuff. But to get back to the whole thing of, is this a trend or not? I don't think it's a trend. I think it is something that people are finally relieved that
mhm,
if they do wear braids, it's okay. Just put it in a nice style, you know? Um,
mhm,
Kinky hair is not the monster anymore. It's okay. I mean, everyone should have nice grooming, but
mhm.
grooming in of itself is one thing. But to say that this type of hair texture is just not acceptable, that is no longer acceptable. And so the Crown Act law is making corporations and businesses say it's not for you to say that this skin color or this hair type don't come here with that. You can't say that. Just like you can't say skin color. You can't
Mhm.
say this hair. It's just because it's naturally that's what we're born with it. So I'm happy that everybody is coming around. A lot of people are. I think over time, more people will. And it's also a big problem in schools.
Mhm.
So many times you will have, I hear these atrocious stories of people getting their locks cut. Like somebody taking
Mhm.
scissors to a child's hair and cutting
Mhm.
it. Like there was this one story when this young guy, he was on a wrestling match and he had these long locks. And in order to continue the wrestling match, he had to cut his locks on the spot. And he was only 16. He didn't know his rights, and he cut his hair. You know, so
Yeah, that's kind of
that
humiliating, I would say, at that point. And so,
right, right. And I don't know, maybe it was his religion because locks have to do with Rastafarian. That's like a religion that has to
yeah.
do with abstaining. So many people just don't understand the deep roots, pun intended, of hair when it comes to the Black community. And it's a struggle to try to figure out, okay, who am I going to be today? Am I going to be, because if I wear my hair natural, then I'm sort of making a statement, which I'm really not. I'm not trying to make a statement. But if you do wear your hair natural, you're quote unquote making a statement. Whereas you're just trying to be yourself. And so that's another aspect of the natural health movement that we need to understand that I have the versatility to do that. I can go natural and I can go straight, and I'm the same person either way.
Do you feel that I guess I have mixed feelings about this, but do you feel that Black people need to educate non-Black people about their hair?
I do. I
Okay.
absolutely do. I think Black people um, can educate, non-Black people about hair whenever it's sort of a safe place to do that. I mean, you can't force people to listen, but when it feels safe to do so, you can make like a soft joke, or you can say something, or if somebody says something, don't get offended or mad. I happen to have a long hair, and someone, a young Hispanic girl, asked me, she was Mexican, and she asked me, no, she touched my hair. She said, "Oh wow, it is soft." So,
Mhm.
so I am not going to get offended. It's not the time. It says, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." I said, and then I just asked the question, is this the first time you've touched this textured hair before? Because that's another thing. Like, what do you call it? It's like you can just call it textured hair. You don't need to call it nappy or kinky coily and all these crazy names. Just it's textured hair or natural hair, you
I
know?
guess, have you ever, this is the thing I have never been able to understand. I guess, why do you think that there is a driving need, I guess, in many people in the society that they really want to touch black hair? I don't under, I've never been able to understand that, because the
You
thing
know,
is, okay, I guess because I have a heebie-jeebie syndrome, right? I have heebie-jeebies. I don't want to touch anybody's anything
hair. Yeah, I got,
if I don't have to, right? But of course, like I said, I have a heebie-jeebie syndrome. I don't want to touch people that I don't know, because I'm like, I don't know about their grooming habits, right? And so I just don't understand. I guess, this is,
the
I have never been able.
fascination with
Well,
touching.
yeah. Well, and the touching, like, I don't understand, like, why.
Yeah, well,
I
I get it. Well,
Yeah, why am I don't know if I'm a
okay.
weird person, that I have a heebie-jeebie syndrome. I don't want to be
No,
touching strangers.
I think I get it. I think I get it because imagine this. So black hair is like no other hair. Like people all over, all different colors of people, brown people, you know, they all have pretty much the same texture, right?
Mhm.
So Mexican people have the same texture, technically, not exactly, than most, white people, Asian people, people from India, people from the Middle East. Depending on how much African you have in your blood, you have that same straight texture out of the scalp texture. When you get to the African American hair or the African hair, it's one or the other to me, and then there's stuff in between. But I'm saying, okay, so when you get to this straight up black hair, we're going to call it just straight up black hair, right? It looks
Uh-huh.
like a little afro. It looks like a little puffball.
Mhm.
Like you're like we'll just talk straight, right? Like so, white hair would never be like a little puffball. We call them afro puffs.
Mhm.
Like, and
Right.
so an afro puff has got to be very intriguing to someone whose hair looks nothing like that. And now we go back even further when I was a little girl and all the dolls, no dolls had afro puffs, zero. In fact, dolls now don't have afro puffs. So
Uh-huh.
everyone is familiar with a white textured hair. Everybody, you either have it or you had a doll that had it.
Mhm.
It's not, there's not a fascination because there's not because of the familiarity, right? So I think if someone is being real and being bold enough and courage and feeling in a safe place, and they see someone with hair like an afro puff and they say, oh, can I touch it? And like that has literally happened to me.
Mhm.
Can I touch your hair? I was like, wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just have never understand I never understood the fascination with that. I just,
Well,
yeah, yeah,
there is.
because,
There
yeah, because, it's another person, like, people can do a bunch of things with their hair, and, I've never had a desire to, like, reach out and grab somebody's hair that that I don't know.
Well, the interesting another way to look at it is that it's not from a standpoint of ickiness, because if something is
Mhm.
icky, like you wouldn't want to touch like a big boil on someone's face, right?
Right. Mhm.
But it's coming from a standpoint of just not being familiar and then
Mhm.
being fascinated by, wow, I finally get to touch this. I always wanted to see how it felt because most people think it's
Mhm.
like a Brillo pad, like coarse, like hard, and
Mhm.
but they touch is like, oh, it's literally like soft cotton. Yeah,
Yes.
it's soft.
Right.
I think they think that it's hard because it's
Mhm.
standing straight up,
Right. Mhm.
but it's not hard. It's soft. So there goes this weird thing about black hair. Like, what is it? How does it? I mean, it literally will stand straight up, like straight up in the air.
Mhm. Yeah,
If you
yeah,
want.
as I say, gravity defying.
Yeah, yeah, it defies it defies gravity. So it's a fascinating thing to have black hair. It can do all these things. It's a high performer. That's what I call it.
Now
Yeah.
now I guess, after, I guess, educating, of course, non, Black people about, black hair, what are some other things that you think that, you'd like non-Black people to know about black hair? You've already said that it's soft.
Right, right. It's soft. Again, the versatility and what you can do with it, depending on the different chemicals that you can put on it, you can bring it all the way up and take it all the way down. You can color it. You can do so much more with it. So it's very versatile. So it's soft, not hard. It's versatile, not limiting, and it's pretty. It's full. It's kind of like calling black hair ugly or limiting or disgusting or unacceptable is kind of like calling a pregnant woman's belly fat. It's
Hmm.
no, it's not fat. There's something more going on here, right?
Yes. Hmm.
So if we're able to grow in our perspectives, coming out of a pandemic, we have learned that the human race has got to get it together. You got to figure it out and get it together as a people and just start recognizing. You don't need to hurt someone's feelings. You don't need to be. You don't need to put your foot on someone's neck in order for you to feel better about yourself. So you don't need to make this hair bad hair and then your hair good hair for what? So just kind of think about, I would say for people who don't have black hair, try try to take that second look and try to stop yourself when you're looking at that hair and say, "Oh, it looks dirty," because it's not like your hair. Black hair
Hmm.
is going to look a certain way if it doesn't have a chemical in it. It's going to have that little afro puff look. And so let's stop making that into some type of limitation because it doesn't match this hair that someone else has. Let's stop thinking that way and start trying to maybe come up with a tool that you think of, like, okay, this person's part of the human race and we're all uniquely different. And isn't it wonderful that that hair is on this planet and my hair is on the planet and there's things in between, and just keep it rolling. I think that that's a way that people who are maybe, if they can think about it and then doing an internal check, can
Hmm.
use that as a tool to tell themselves that black hair isn't ugly, or it is different, but it's not limiting or ugly. Like, try to check yourself internally. Yeah, I think so.
Yes, and then now, just before we kind of switch topics, but one of the things I think that uh, as I know, and now that speaking of people who just recently were pregnant, I was pregnant in 2020. I had a
Oh,
pandemic baby.
wow.
I had a
Cool.
pandemic. I
Pandemic
had a
baby.
I had a pandemic baby, and so I have a child that is mixed, and so how would you say for parents who are dealing with children who are Black or mixed, with dealing with their hair? I know they have like now a whole series of different books, because I got a whole bunch of them during my baby shower. Everybody
Uh-huh.
kept sending me all these books to make my child comfortable with her hair before she even arrived,
Oh,
which I
yeah.
was
Oh,
like, okay, we don't even know what
yeah.
we haven't even met her yet, but everybody's already
Right.
preparing her for dealing with the pressures of society. So which I had also a little bit of mixed feelings about, because I was just like, she's just a baby, and now like thrown
We're putting
into
all this
like the
pressure.
the lion's den, like that's what I felt
Right.
like. So
Gee.
how, yeah, so how do you make your children that are Black or mixed feel, comfortable with their hair, because it seems there's something that they're going to have to confront like almost right away.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hair is a crazy thing. So, and I have a daughter. I have a daughter as well, and she has a different texture than mine. You know, um, and when I say texture, so she has something I don't know who came up with this stuff, but it's called 4C hair. So 4C hair is the really is the hair when I say that it can stick straight up in the air, like if it can literally stick straight up in the air. It does not, it has a strong curl pattern. But so for her, we do our hair together. And so she knows and is empowered on how to control her and how to make her hair pretty. And and buy her nice things to put in her hair. The more you embrace it and have her involved, the better. The more she's not empowered or disempowered, or she doesn't know how to do her hair, she doesn't understand her hair, she doesn't know the product to put in her hair, that's when the problems come in. That's when the problems come in. But if she's in control, she knows what to do. She has all these different ways she can do her hair. And she now, she's going to get that little sassy girl stance. She'll be good. She's okay. She'll be okay. But she's got to have that empowerment though. You can't have her in that stance of, I don't know what to do with my hair. My hair is so ugly. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. Like that's when the problems come in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So start early. Because this is for girls of all ages, but definitely for girls that have curly hair. It's she can do more with her hair, but now we have to teach her all those things, and that's kind of the double-edged sword, right? You can do more with it, but if you don't know that, then now you're limiting yourself because you don't know.
Right,
it's kind of like having an Apple phone and all you can do is make a phone call with it. No,
yes.
you can do a whole lot more, but you have to be aware. You have to know what buttons to push and all that stuff. That's the same thing, especially when you talk about young girls with curly hair. You got to teach them early. And that's what we didn't. Let's see. When I was growing up, that's what we did. Like I remember me and my sisters, we did our own hair like as early as 8, 9.
Wow.
By 10, 11 years old, we were doing pressing combs and curling irons and all that stuff.
Wow, you guys started really early.
We started early. But then people started, not letting their children do stuff on their own. And these are the kids we have today. So, girls don't maybe and I'm guilty of it too. My goodness. Like my daughter, she should be doing her, like she's 9. She should be doing her own hair, but I still do her hair or I take her to the braid shop. Now, how much do you think braids cost?
It depends, I guess, how on the, how elaborate. I guess I've heard of them at least costing like $100 or up. So.
Yeah. I just paid $250 for my daughter's braids to be done. And it's ridiculous because, it involves, oh my God, Black hair is just so complicated. So it involves adding hair as well. But so you're paying for the braid, you're paying for the artistry, the time, and then the hair. But my daughter, she doesn't do her own hair. And so does she feel like she's, but she doesn't really have a problem with her hair though, but she should be doing her own hair. So I would say for your daughter, start her just not doing her whole head right now, but when she's like 2 and 3 years old, give her a brush and let her it may look kind of crazy, but let her put some ponytails in her own hair. You know what I mean? Like start giving her some control early, not full run, but start early, I would say. Yeah. And she's going to love her hair. She's going to love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So so then giving, I guess, children awareness and comfort, and feeling that they have, I guess, that they're in the driver's seat, so to speak, of their hair,
Perfectly said. Yes.
will help them build confidence, because they see that, oh, if I want a certain hairstyle, oh, I can do it. I'll just learn how to do it. Versus they feel limited and kind of, one of the things, I guess, I'm going to relate this to something kind of odd and awkward, but as being like, just because I guess I'm thinking about Halloween, vampires, where they're kind of locked into a look, and they could cut their hair, but it just grows back instantly. So understanding that you aren't locked into a certain look gives them the
Oh my
confidence,
goodness.
the
Yes.
confidence, to be,
Mhm.
whoever they want to be. Um,
You,
yeah,
you
that
you you said it right there. Do not lock yourself into a look. That goes exactly in line with the versatility performance aspect of what I'm saying. And here's another example of that, which has really led to a problem with Black women in swim class. They don't want to get
mm-hmm.
their hair wet,
Yes.
so
Mm-hmm.
they don't take swimming. And they got a whole generation of people who don't know how to swim because of hair. Come on, it's ridiculous. So
Yes, and we should
what
learn how to
what am I
swim with the
saying?
climate change. Yes,
So what am
yes.
I saying? What am I saying? Because that was that whole culture of you better get your hair wet. You better keep your hair straight. Your hair is going to get nappy. like that was the culture. It's changing because now you go swimming, you keep it moving, but that goes with what your daughter can now just maybe her generation won't even have this nonsense to deal with. You get your hair wet. Well, hey baby, you know what to do. Just twist it here and there. Boom, wrap it up. That's it. Put it in
Hmm.
a ponytail. What do you do? Tools. Your
Hmm.
hair does not limit you. You need to know what to do with your hair at any said given time. Because it's true, when a white hair gets wet, it does something. It doesn't stay exactly the same as dry hair. And
Hmm.
then people know what to do. And then same thing for black hair. You just have to know what to do. And for black hair, all you got to do is throw that hair in two braids, keep it moving. That's it. But they got
Yes.
to know that. They have to know that and feel okay with that. And that's the part that I think where we are now. We're good with that now. But back in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, I'm not getting my hair wet.
Yeah, yes, that was, yeah, definitely, that was the way that people looked at it. And so,
Right.
one of the things I was going to ask you was about the controversy of black hair, but it even seems in some ways that the controversy is not just contributed by non-blacks, but also blacks themselves.
Oh, oh,
So it was I guess a multi uh, I guess, multiracial controversy,
mhm.
mostly I would say put on black women, because I've never, of course, been a black man, but I think they have it maybe a little bit easier, because you can just shave your
Oh,
head and
yeah.
go, or
Yeah.
and also,
Hair,
most
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
most men are not trying to, like,
That's their
blow
hair.
dry
Yeah.
their hair and all this stuff.
Right, right, right. Well,
So
yeah, like women, all women of all cultures, hair is your rain, is your crown jewel, whatever. And so, yeah, hair kind of says it all. But for black women, it's like, what do you do with your hair? You don't want to cut it off, like, well, some people do. Some people wear
right.
small crop styles, and you can do that too. You can rock a crop style and look very good, but you have to have the right shaped head.
Yes, this is true. This is
so,
true.
so you don't know that until all your hair is off, and then you gotta let it grow. And I don't know. So,
Yeah. Yes, yeah, and speaking
so
of that, I know that just the Black beauty industry is up to, I think it was like in 2021, this past year, it's like up to $1.5 trillion.
brilliant. Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize I think this is like a stereotype that I think is like always floating around. I think it's starting to maybe dissipate very slowly. But a lot of people didn't think that, Black women were spending too much time taking care of themselves. But
Mhm. Money
the
don't lie.
finances is, but the finances, like trillion, it's almost up to like our national debt.
Yeah.
Right. So
We are
that's another misconception.
very particular.
Yes. People don't realize that Black women spend the
A lot of
most,
money.
the most
I tell
money
you what,
taking care of themselves. Hmm.
well, I'll tell you what, I will match my product archive, library, arsenal against anyone's. I've got so much crap, and I was like, "Oh, let me buy this. Oh, it's a pretty bottle. Oh, let me smell it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Is this gonna work?" Because we have edge gel, edge cream, butters, and shea moisturizers, and serums, and spritzers, and leave-in creams, and leave-in sprays, and I mean, we have so much to put on our hair, and we have all
Hmm.
the styles. So
Hmm.
that's why we have so much product. Now, the problem with the product has another level in that Black people don't own the distribution industries of the product.
Hmm.
So outside of Jenny Cap, the Jenny Cap is Black owned, but that's kind of tragic in that if Black people owned that market, that industry, or at least had more on the economic side of it. I mean, we're on the consumer side of it for sure.
Hmm. Yeah.
But the economic side of it is tremendous. It's huge. And I'm not sure how that all went down. Back in the 80s, you had product like Stay Soft Row and Namaste and Afro Sheen and Proline. Those are all Black owned companies. Well, those are all gone. They're all gone. And now you do have some Black owned companies that are making some product, but
Hmm.
I just don't know where all this product comes from. But it is just tons of it. You can not go like in the city of Chicago, for example, even Oakland or any urban type of setting. There is a what you call a beauty supply on every corner.
Hmm.
Now, when I go, now I'm in Chicago, so if I go on the south side of Chicago, I see that. It's crazy. It's a beauty supply on every corner. But I have to say, I love the beauty supply. Beauty
Uh-huh.
supply is a mecca. It's wonderful. Everything is in there. But you go on the north side of Chicago, which is mainly where not so many Black people live. Not as many, but actually, I mean, the north side of Chicago is very multicultural, but mainly white people, but also multicultural as well. But the point is, there are very few, if any, beauty supplies. This is kind of a crazy thing to notice. So the beauty supplies are definitely a thing for Black
Hmm.
hair.
Hmm.
And your daughter, when she gets big enough, she's gonna want to go to beauty supply. Now you get larger companies like Sally Beauty and even Walgreens. Walgreens, they have a nice selection of product from the accessories to the protection to the actual wet goods. Anything you need, they got it. And you're gonna need something all the time because you're gonna run out. Yeah.
Now, now, I guess one of the things, and this is just from workplaces, just leading into more of the Crown Act side. Um, with all these, I guess, the flexibility and dexterity of Black hair, a lot of African Americans, and this is mostly, I'll just say, I'm just going to always include women because I don't think men are really dealing with this as much.
Right.
Uh, um, and so a lot of Black women, when they are in an office setting, I'm interested to see now that we're in this pandemic and how it plays out remotely, but I think it still is going to play out in similar ways, just because we are on video and things like that. That many African and American women and Black women feel that they need to have their hair just straight to fit into the office culture. Now, And that has always, or I guess I would say for general, that was the standard of what is professional. And so that is something that I guess that I see a lot. It's not necessarily that people mind if you want to go and do something different with your hair. Most people are not getting upset. It's only really when it comes into in employment or in some cases, as we've seen the stories, educational institutions, high schools and schools, and unfortunately, in some cases, even at the elementary school level. Um,
Right.
and so I guess is there such a thing as professional hair?
Um, in terms of just the structure of it being straight or non-straight, no. I think that's the whole point of the Crown Act law. Like, you need to accept my hair if it is not chemically or intentionally straightened. You need to accept my hair. I mean, just like you have to accept the fact that I have a nose on my face. You have to accept this. And it's not, and you're only not accepting it because it's something that you learned. And so we should not be accepting that. From a human standpoint, we shouldn't accept this kind of non-scientific nonsense. I don't like that hair because it's not straight. I mean, why? Like, no, there's no scientific thing, and that's a social construct. So there's no such thing as professional and non-professional hair. Now, there is such thing as a professional style, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do think that you have to be groomed. You can't be, you know, just like for white hair, it shouldn't be oily,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, black hair, it needs to be groomed. I mean, as we just said just before, I mean, we are all about keeping it together now. So it has to be groomed. You need to brush it, groom it, comb it, moisturize it, do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then we get into the nuances of people not having good styles or bad styles. But you do
Yeah.
need to style your hair. You do need, if you're going to be in a professional world, you need to style your hair. So that means if you have a natural curly look, you're African American, you have a natural curly look, you got to have a style, because you can't like not have a style and say, oh, you don't like me because it makes my hair. No, no, you do have to have a style. Come on. You do have to have a style, you know. So what does that mean? Well, maybe you can have it in a nice little natural fro, like a little natural, maybe cropped on these sides and a little bit coming to the front, like a little bang look, that's pretty, that's cute. Or
Mm-hmm.
you can have some twist and then have the twist bundled up into like a bun, and that's very professional. There should be nothing wrong with that style when it's even in its natural state. So I think that's where diversity and inclusion departments and hopefully companies that solve the civil unrest and sort of get the whole problem, if they can have a diversity and inclusion department or something in their HR playbook that they didn't have before 2020. Now they have it now. That they can understand that, this Crown Act law and this hair thing, you just can't go around telling people, oh, your hair's not acceptable. Like, you're going to find yourself in a lawsuit maybe. So you got to look, you don't want to do that. So maybe what they could do is maybe have, for everybody, maybe make some rules for everybody, or don't make any rules for anyone. And that's to the extent of what professional hair in a workplace how you're going to enforce it. I don't know how you're going to enforce it, but the rules for me have to be applied to everybody, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and definitely it cannot be, you have to straighten your hair. Now, what happens in the real world is, attractive people who know how to groom themselves, people who look good, they're going to make it. This is kind of how I think it's a human thing.
Yes, yes, that's true.
Unless you are, unless you have a skill set that is like super mathematician geeky style, you
Yes.
don't have to
Uh-huh.
worry about your grooming. If you want to be in a corporate setting where you're dealing and talking to people every day, you're influencing people every day, people are looking at you every day, likability comes into play. And if it looks like you don't take care of yourself, people aren't going to like you.
Right.
Now, so to the extent
Heebie-jeebies.
that
Yes.
they're not gonna want to be around you. I don't know if they're gonna like you or not, but they're not gonna be around you because I know, come on. So I would say to any African American woman who's in a professional setting, corporate world, what have you, and you want to wear your hair natural, which is completely your right, create some nice styles. And no one would even know that it's natural or not natural. But you do have to have some nice styles. And that could be what we would call professional hair. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That yes, everybody must groom themselves if they're going to be working in the professional world.
Yeah. Sound advice.
You should be doing it anyways, even if you're just at home. But
No
but
brainer.
definitely if you're presenting and out there in the public, you should definitely groom yourself.
No brainer. No brainer.
um,
Yes.
I guess one of the big things is that a lot of people uh, are not aware of the Crown Act, but why should everybody care? Because currently, what they have, I think the last report that I looked at is that the Crown Act has only passed in 14 states, and it's still being considered by the other 36, so it may or may not pass, which is, it's great that it's passed in these 14, but it's still, we still have a ways to go. So why should people care who are either, black or non-black?
Yeah, I think that the more equity, I think we're learning this, definitely here in Chicago. I think we're learning this. The more equity there is among us all, the more freedom of peace of mind that we have among the many. Everybody's not going to have peace of mind ever. That's just human condition. But we want more people to live with, we should all want more people to live in equity. And that's what the Crown Act Law represents. If I can't earn if my earning potential is connected to my natural hair, it comes out of my head, meaning my natural hair is going to relegate me to a $10 hour job for the rest of my life. That's pretty horrible.
Yes.
Like, so if I am a CEO, if I'm an entrepreneur, you know, more and more, and a lot of people are they're going to their own business, like these apps like TaskRabbit and Grubhub, like people are becoming their own person. But the more everyone can earn, the more everyone can benefit from those earnings of the greater earnings, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So, having 5 people with all the money and then sprinkling $5 among 2 million people, there's not a lot of generational wealth going on with that equation, right?
Hmm.
So the Crown Act law is specifically about, I mean, it's a feel good thing too. I mean, we should all kumbaya, be happy, but it's really an equitable thing. It's about, this person will not be able to get a job if she wears her hair like this. Now, is that right? And forget about it being right or not, she will not be able to raise a family, because the majority of Black women, at least, like I think it's like 70 or 80%, are single family or single parents. So how is this person going to raise a family, have a household, when her hair will dictate how much money she's going to make. It's just one more thing for her to worry about. So everybody should be like, no, that's not good. We have got to do better. Because something as silly and stupid as, okay, your hair's not straight, your hair's curly, okay, I don't like you. Or your hair's not straight, okay, then you can't get this job. So, everyone should care because everyone should want equity. When everyone has equity, we all do better. Because now that whole earning potential goes up for more people, and now we can all, spend money among more people. Because that's really where we're going. I mean, this is becoming more and more of a society of independent entrepreneurs doing things. They have jobs, but then they also have these little side gig hustle things too.
Yes.
So the only
Also,
way, so the only way that type of world is truly going to work. I mean, I can't order Grubhub if I don't have disposable income. I just can't do it. Right. And so, the Jeff Bezoses of the world, even those guys, like everybody should want equity, that the summation is a greater participation of this whole thing that we call laissez-faire economics. We have got to have equity at the very, very, very rudimentary basic levels. And if we're talking about hair, that too.
Yes. I know.
That's why it's money. It's about the money. Okay.
Yes.
So let's just stick with that, and then we can, do the thing because it's the right thing to do as well. But maybe people won't get that part right off.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes. No. I think people, because I always, one of the reasons I wanted to do this topic was because I was just like, I can't believe that like hair is such a barrier for so many other things in life, right? Like,
Yes.
it's crazy to me. So I was like, we have to get to the, pun intended, I guess, or the root of this. So,
maybe that should be the name of the show, the Getting to the Roots.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I guess in all your experience, dealing and working with black hair now, you've been doing it for some decades. What is the most remarkable thing that you have learned during your time in working with black women and about black hair?
Just the unsung skilled artists who are working in this space, who have gone, who've died, they're here, they're everywhere, and you and I don't know them. And I go back to the fact that, we don't really own the greater global economics of it all. So there's doors that we'll just never go through, But there are just so many hairstylists. I mean, braiders. They're just people who have been doing their hair all their lives. And you come across these different people through my professional side of things. I just come across all these different people and their skill set with black hair. I remember one time I had my hair, I was going on a cruise and I had to have my hair braided. And I didn't think they could do it, but they said they were going to do it. They did my hair in 30 minutes. They braided my hair in 30 minutes. One girl took one side, another girl took another side. And their fingers looked like little bitty, looked like little machines. They were like, they were like, it was like amazing. Like maybe someone should develop a machine because their little hands were moving. Just stuff like that. those are the things of, because it's in this really closed world of Black hair that only we know about it, and it's just a norm for us, but it really is miraculous, kind of crazy cool stuff. Like maybe there should be a reality show, I don't know, but it, it is just the stuff that goes on in these hair salons, the artistry, the knowledge, the talent, and it's just it's just normal. It's just normal. So
Wow.
that's the stuff I would have to say. I would have to give a shout out to everybody out there, the Black hair care, I guess, service providers. Shout out to them because they're out there every day doing people's hair. Getting your hair did. They're doing it. Yeah.
So in closing, I'd like you to finish this sentence. For Black people, hair isn't just hair.
It's survival or what is the word I'm looking for? Or rejection. You're either going to survive and fall in line, or you're going to reject the norms, and then maybe you won't survive. You'll be looked at. I mean, with the Crown Act law and the natural hair movement is sort of putting a damper on that, but we have not arrived, as they say. So it's either survival or rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the reality.
I like I like that. Yeah, it shows the seriousness of the Crown Act and what people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. I love that answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, thank you so
It's
much.
really nice.
Yes. Well, thank you so much
You're
for your
welcome.
time. So thank you, Jennifer, for your time and insight. If you'd like to learn more about Miss Atkins, go to jennycat.com. If you have a passion for an unserved community, a social justice problem, or simply want to change minds, contact Project Good Work at projectgood.work to start your project of change today. To our listeners, thanks for tuning in to Project Good. We're focused on what matters.